I'm so excited. Look at all this chickweed. Anybody else have their stomach growling? And there's some purple dead nettle over there. And there's a mullein. This is magnificent. Okay, so we're back to make some chickweed into a nutritious juice. And juicing is such an incredible way of getting your nutrition, especially if you're trying to heal from any condition and you don't want to overtax your body with making it digest difficult foods. So juicing it just breaks it down and makes the enzymes easier to absorb. Of course, I just picked this, so it's really enzyme rich and delicious. And I just wanted to tell you, I'm not going to juice in front of you, but I wanted to show you some of the tips on how to juice with wild greens. So I've been juicing with lots of wild greens. I've juiced with purple dead nettles, with nettle, with, what else? Any of the mustards. But so the way I recommend doing it is I don't cut this up. I just keep it large like that and stick it into the hole, and then you take your carrots and stick that on top. Now you could just make a complete green drink and just make it with nothing but the chickweed, which is fine, but I think it's more delicious if you add a little bit of apple for some sweetness and the carrots for the vitamin A, and the celery because that has so many nutritional benefits as well. So I'm just going to make a wonderful juice, and I'll show you what it looks like when it fills up my jar, and you will feel your cells will thank you because it's so highly nutritious. So I'll show you that at the end of this video, but right now I just want to talk about some of the medicinal purposes of chickweed. So like Hippocrates always says, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. So chickweed is good medicine. And the things that it does for you, and I'll tell you two of my stories in a minute, is that it's really excellent for anything inflammatory. So remember I told you it's a refrigerant, so literally it feels cold. And I'll never forget one time late at night I needed to get some chickweed for some recipe I was cooking. I literally went out into my backyard near my compost bin. They love compost bins. And I just felt around for something cold, and you can tell that that's chickweed. So that's a good organoleptic test is to close your eyes and go, okay, what plant is that? I just don't do it to stinging nettle. Anyway, I got my chickweed and brought it in and cooked. So one time I went over to a friend's house, and she met me at the door, and her face was as red as this apple. And she just had some procedure done on her skin, and she was miserable with this crazy rash, and she was so upset. And I said, I know exactly what to do. So I went out in her backyard. It was raining at the time, and sure enough, there's some chickweed. I got a bunch of it. I chopped it up really fine, added a little bit of water to it, and I had her lay on the couch, and I just made a poultice out of it to put directly on her skin. And so she did, and then I just did it twice, and within 20 minutes her skin was completely normal. All of that red angry fire was gone. And so she was astonished, and her husband, who happens to be an internist, was home at the time, and she said, oh, come look. And so he was just amazed, and that was one of their first experiences with how incredible herbs are and what gifts they are from God to us. So that was a fun story. So anytime that you've got an angry, red, flaming skin issue, this would be a go-to herb, just to make an easy poultice out of it. You can also take this, chop it up, put it in some water, and then put it in ice cubes, and keep those ice cubes in a bag, and then make sure you label it. And use, next time you have an itch or a bug bite or something like that, you can just take that ice cube that's full of chickweed juice and infusion and put it right on the angry area. And that way, if you don't have chickweed available, especially in the summer, because it doesn't like hot weather and it disappears in the heat. So it comes back again in the fall, so don't worry. It's an annual or perennial. It's both. Okay, my other cool story was I don't remember why, but our tonsils are there to keep toxins in stasis. And so my tonsils were doing a really good job, and they were swollen, so huge, and I don't understand what it is that I did to inflame them or get them so angry and large, but I could barely see a hole in the back of my throat. So I actually wrote on a piece of paper to my husband, please call my mentor, Heather Neon Flagedare, and ask her what to do. And so she just didn't even bat an eye, and she said, take some cleavers and some chickweed tincture, which I have a tincture of just about every plant. And she said, just take a squirt of that and a little bit of hot water every 20 minutes, and it will completely flush your tonsils. And I'm like, okay, I was desperate. So I did, and I'm telling you, within 3 or 4 times of every 20 minutes, probably within an hour, that entire swelling of my tonsils was completely released, and it was like a miracle. So this is a miracle. This is a miracle plant. So not only do you want to eat it for its calcium and for its potassium and for its phosphorus and its minerals and magnesium, you want to use it for medicine, make it into a poultices in particular. So I'll just read to you. Oh, I've also made salves out of it, which is a cool thing to do, especially with calendula. So it's very specific for any type of skin. I've also used it for eye washes. So you can make a gentle tea out of this, cool it down a little bit, and then just put droppers of the liquid into your eye, and it will cool like pink eye or inflamed eyes. What else have I used it for? I told you about the swelling glands. Just amazing. This is something Nicholas Culpeper, who was a famous herbalist in England in the 1600s, he said about chickweed. He said, he recommended placing chickweed poultices over the liver. It doth wonderfully temper the heat of the liver, and is effectual for all imposthumes, which are abscesses, and swellings whatsoever, for all redness in the face, wheals, pushes, itches, or scabs. There you have it. And yeah, so there's a lot of other things I could say about it, but for now, I think that's good enough. I'm going to show you next how to make a salad with chickweed. So basically, you are going to do it completely different than I did with the juicing. You're going to take a knife, which I don't know where my knife went. I'll just tell you. And just take the chickweed and chop it up really fine. And then you take that fine chickweed and you put that in your salad bowl. And you can make any kind of dressing you want. I love using feta cheese. And I absolutely love putting different vegetables and seeds and dried fruits and cheeses around the edges. And it makes it beautiful. So I'll show you a picture of that as well. So let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. Enjoy chickweed. Go find it and learn all you can about it. There's so much there to rejoice over and be grateful for. Wild blessings are abounding. Thank you for joining me.